Hello and welcome to another episode of The Whole Package by Premier Packaging. I'm your host, Billy Watkins. We've got a little different setup today. Our guest is Kevin Fritze, the sustainability manager here at Premier Packaging. And we thought it'd be a little weird if we did a show about sustainability. Kevin is in Charlotte, North Carolina. We film our little show here in Louisville, Kentucky. So we didn't think it'd be good to have him hop on a plane and fly out here. So we're doing our very first Skype podcast. So I kind of feel like Larry King, live via satellite. We have Kevin Fritze with us today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
And thank you for joining us. So you're in Charlotte, North Carolina. But tell us a little bit about where you came from and how you got here.
Sure. So I've been in Charlotte for a little over a decade now. Moved here from work. I'm originally from northern New Jersey, where I grew up, where most of all my and my wife's family still are. So I grew up in northern New Jersey, spent a lot of time out playing in the woods, working for my father's heating and air conditioning contracting company. And that was a very successful company and allowed us all these great opportunities to go play outside. So we had a house in the Southern Catskills in New York. So I spent a lot of time up there. And then my family's been going hunting up in Maine for, well, now 4 generations. So over 75 years going to the same place up there.
Gorgeous place. One of the prettiest places I've ever been
Yep.
is Maine. Lovely.
Love it up there. And the North Woods is just a whole nother experience and a whole nother world. Um, so doing all that, I really got a good love of being outside. And I also saw the impact of business on the environment, especially in the logging woods up in Maine, right? And the woods grow pretty slowly up there. So you see that impact from decades and decades before still there in some small ways. So I could see the impact of the business on the environment. And then coming back home, I see, well, I get to go play in the woods at this great place in the Catskills because my father's business is so successful. So ultimately, we need business to produce all the things that we want.
Right.
Um, but it's causing a lot of the environmental issues that we have. So I my interest in environment and protecting the environment came up from a young age. And so if I'm going to protect the environment and keep it nice so that my kids and their kids, et cetera, have these great opportunities like I have to enjoy the outdoors and just the world the way it is, I want them to do that as well. So if we can get businesses to adopt more sustainable practices, then they should be able to do that. Right. So that was my hope.
So so you were kind of ingrained with this at a very young age, just with your life and the opportunities you had. So you went to Colby College in Maine.
Yep.
I'm such a dork that I'm going to bring this up, but the only thing I know about Colby College, and maybe this is maybe this works because you were from New Jersey, but I was rewatching The Sopranos, and the only reason I know Colby College is that where the daughter went up to Maine to see to visit, and somebody got whacked or whatever, but it looked like a nice place. So
Yes, it was a very nice place, and I have not actually watched all The Sopranos, but I've been to many of the locations on The Sopranos growing up where they filmed a lot of it, right, where it's based in northern New Jersey. So definitely have a fondness for that.
well done show. A little violent, but not too shabby. So, what is it? I mean, obviously, what we've talked about in your past and growing up. What is it about sustainability that interests you most?
So in general, right, the environmental piece is where I'm most passionate and most interested in, right? As I want to drive progress and performance on the environmental side of things. But the other piece is identifying improvement opportunities and ways to do things better, and then figuring out how to get that done. A lot of times it's not obvious. A lot of times there's trade-offs. So you might, oh, wow, you could save a bunch of water use over there. Yeah, but we're going to have to increase our energy use if we do that. Okay, what's more important, right? In this situation, this context, what do we value more? What do we need to make more progress on? So which way are we going to go? And kind of figuring out those trade-offs and the pros and cons and navigating that is some of the fun to me.
What do you see in terms of sustainability and packaging?
There's a lot of interesting trends and innovation and changes going on in packaging right now from a sustainability standpoint. There's a few big themes that are driving it, and to the point of trade-offs earlier, these kind of get at that. So it depends on what you're after, what you're driving at. So if you're worried about climate change and you want to reduce your greenhouse gas emissions, the carbon footprint of your products and the packaging associated with it, that leads you to a certain set of innovations that we've been seeing, many of which have been going on for a while, right? Lightweighting, smaller packaging use, better cube utilization, filling up trucks more, that sort of thing, right? How can you how can you protect your product, deliver the product, move everything using the fewest resources that you can, the least amount of fuel, lowest number of emissions, both when you're making the thing, when you're moving the thing, when you're getting rid of the thing, et cetera. And that aligns generally with the overall way that the economy's set up, which is linear economy, right? So we make something, we use it, we get rid of it, and that's the way things go. So if you're operating in that environment, you want to have as little packaging as possible, and it doesn't really matter to you what happens to it at the end because it's not your responsibility, it's not linear, you don't have to do anything with it, right? So a lot of those same incentives for reducing carbon emissions also go along with reducing costs of the packaging itself. Right, so actually, I love show and tell. So for anybody who shops at Costco, you recognize the Costco nuts, right? Kirkland brand nuts. Yep. So this is what we got for many years, and it came in this nice tub of the nuts. Well, now you go there, and it comes in this pouch.
Yeah.
Right? And it was a pouch say 85% less plastic than the tubs. Okay, so I'm using less plastics. A lot of people try less plastic. That's good. It's lighter. I mean, they're full, but it's probably lighter to move than the tub.
Right.
So less carbon in making this pouch than in making the tub, and certainly in moving it around. And then if you throw the thing away when you're done with it, then you're throwing away a lot less plastic, right? So you see that kind of playing out here. On the other hand, the other trend that you're starting to see is if you care about waste and the end of life of something, then this isn't going to help you that much except that it's less volume, right? It's less stuff.
Takes up less space, yeah.
Right. Of course, my camera never likes this, so you can't recycle this.
Right.
Right. This is the how to recycle label, and this pouch is not recyclable. You have to throw it away, right? Whereas this is number one PETE recyclable. So this can be recycled, and this has value. Actually, the lid might even be so the lid's a different material. It's number 5, polypropylene. But recyclers can get this, and they can do something with it, right? This has some value, whereas this is literally can't be recycled.
Yeah.
Right. And so one of the trends that you're starting to see is companies are trying to make the pouches more recyclable. Maybe a single material or a single type of material. So it may be all number 1 polyethylene, multiple layers of it with different characteristics, but all the same materials. So ultimately, it can be broken down or melted down and made into a new product. But there's so little of this material compared to this that when the recycler gets it, the material recovery facility sorting it all out, they can't do a lot with this because nobody wants to buy it. People want to buy this, which is a lot of plastic, and they can really use it in a big bale of it and make something good out of it. So you're starting to see from a waste management side a couple trends as people go to these thin packages, more recyclable, so mono material instead of multi-layers to get all the different characteristics you want, right? So you want this to have a good shelf life in addition to being lightweight, right? So you put different materials in there and you can't really recycle it. So you use one material and you could recycle it, but a lot of times it's not easily recyclable, or people don't want to take it back, or recyclers don't want to take it back. Okay, well in that case, what about if we made it with a biodegradable material? So if it gets thrown out, at least it goes away eventually,
Right.
or maybe even compostable. Okay, but the overall carbon that it takes to make those bioplastics ends up being a lot more than if you just made it with an oil-based plastic or something out of natural gas. So then we get to the trade-offs,
Yeah.
all right? So it really depends on what you're trying to solve for. What problem are you trying to solve leads you to these different solutions.
Oh, the balance. It's not an easy. It's a very complex problem. What worries you more then? What are you more concerned with? Climate change, global warming, or landfills filling up with a bunch of plastic that we can't get rid of?
I don't really have a solid answer to that. Because I'm worried about both, and I'm still trying to really understand the recyclability impact of plastic before I really have a good, solid sense of that. Um, for now, I'm a fan of action to try and mitigate climate change and reduce the amount of climate change we're going to have, and try and recycle more. That's kind of what I'm hoping is the future. So I support these moves to more recyclable materials than the ones that we have to throw away. I'm gonna have to, but I'm just last week I was at the Sustainable Packaging Coalition conference, and there was a lot of talk about these sort of trade-offs. And I've realized I need to dig in a lot more to the life cycle analyses that are being done to understand, is recycling really the answer from a carbon standpoint, from a local environmental standpoint, human health standpoint? There's a lot of implications there that need to be addressed. To me, all of this can be overwhelming and
Right.
frustrating if you're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wait, the sustainability guy doesn't even know, right? How am I supposed to know, right? So I like to just keep it simple and say I'm doing what I can do,
Right.
right? And minimize my own energy use as much as I can within reason, right? I'm still gonna take longer hot showers if I want to. I try not to take too long a hot shower, but sometimes I'm just really tired and I feel like taking a hot shower. I don't beat myself up for that,
I
right?
always,
I turn the lights
I'm
on.
always taking a cold shower before the show just so I can be on top of things.
Got to be sharp.
As I need as much help as I can get. Yeah, so I guess it's maybe don't necessarily look at things in your personal life from the macro level. You know, the small things. What can you do on a day-to-day basis to make a contribution just in your own life, and not necessarily worry about the the entire globe at a time,
Exactly.
right?
Right. This isn't a problem that you and I are causing, right? I didn't cause climate
Right.
change. Sure,
Yeah.
I can contribute to it a little bit here, and I can try to minimize how much I am part of the problem, but I didn't cause it. I can't solve it,
Right.
but I can avoid overly contributing to it,
Right.
right? And I can do my part to help. All right. With recycling, same thing, right? So I know in Charlotte, these things are recyclable. I got to make sure it's cleaned out and they can take this back. But if I'm having a yogurt in Charlotte, I cannot recycle that yogurt tub. They don't want that at the local recycler because they don't have somebody who's going to buy it from them. So don't send it there.
Right.
Yeah, the carton says it can be recycled or it is recyclable, but that doesn't mean Charlotte wants it and Charlotte can recycle it. So knowing that's really important, because if I throw it in the bin, then I'm contaminating the waste stream, and then it makes it harder for them to make money off of this, and it kind of derails the whole thing. So focusing on what I can do to help is what I like to do.
And what are some of the other simple swaps that we can do? People have probably been doing for a long time, but they're out there. Do you have any suggestions you do day to day?
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff. I brought some stuff to show and tell too. So one of the ones that you hear about all the time is bringing your own bags to the grocery store, right? And that can kind of be a pain, especially if you got the big folding bags and whatnot. So over the years, I picked up these tiny little bags. They're from a company called Chico Bag out of Chico, California,
Oh,
and I got this one at a conference, and it folds up. And it's got a little carabiner clip, so when I'm done with it, I package it up and I just hang. If you hang it where your keys are, you just hang it there, and when I go out to my car, I can go get it, and I put it in the center console, and then I unfold it, and voila,
It's
I
huge.
have a shopping bag, and
Nice.
it's big. And this is a smaller one. I actually got another one that I got is even bigger. So this is an easy one for me. I literally leave them in the center console of my truck, and when I'm at the store, they're already there. When I come home, I unpack it all, I fold it right up, and I put it back where I put my keys. So the next time I go, it's right there with my keys, and off I go. So I've just built it into my routine, and it's easy. It's
Yeah.
not a burden. It's not harder, right? So
And then, because if you think about it, every time you go to the grocery store and you're using the amount of plastic bags you come home with, I mean, it is, and just multiply that by 100 million times. Good Lord, right?
right, it's a lot. And we still use some of those, right?
Right.
My garbage can has one in it now. So if we got rid of them entirely, then at some point from time to time, I'd probably be going to the store and buying little bags to put in our garbage bins.
Does it?
So
Have I said this? But and those things you can't. You're just throwing those away, right? There is no or some grocery stores take them back, right?
that's right. So some of them will take them back, and your local store probably does. There's a lot of drop-off recycling for these thin plastic films. Again, you want to know what is recyclable there. So a lot of times, this sort of thing can be recycled in those in-store drop-off, but it will say store drop-off rather than
Right.
don't recycle it. So you got to keep an eye on that and check that locally. But yeah, we do. I have the sandwich, the bread bags that we get. I keep the wrapper, and then as we get things, I just stuff those in that, and then eventually take it back to the store one day when it's full and drop it in a little bin on my way in.
Yeah.
So again, same thing. We have it very easy. We have our garbage bin, our recycling bin, and then a little hook where we hang that bag to put all the little plastic film in there, because it can't go through with the regular recycling. It gums up the machinery and all the conveyor belts that sort everything. They're not designed for those little flexible plastic bits. They get wrapped around, or they carry on with the paper and they contaminate the paper stream. So they have to be done separately. So I've just made it easy. I've got a little spot where I hang that bag, and then I fill up the bag. And my mother-in-law in New Jersey has the garbage recycling, and then another bin next to it, like a third recycling bin, where she keeps her plastic films. And then once that's full, takes it out and brings it to the store. You build it into your regular routine, day-to-day
Right.
way you do things, and it becomes easy.
You don't necessarily have to go out of your way. You just get a few habits going, and it makes it easy.
Right, that's what it is. And then reusing stuff, right? That's a big thing that we like to do. So I get the newspaper, so I wrap stuff with it. Right? This is a present for my son.
Yeah.
And you do something like that. Like those tubs that I was talking about, I've got a trail mix in here that I make for myself. Right? So I didn't get a different container to do that. I used the tub. Towels. So we have, this is one of my favorites. Right? Dish towel. Well, when you're done with it, after a while, it gets ratty and dirty and whatnot. You're turned into a rag.
Right.
And so we use these to clean stuff. And
Yep.
we almost never buy paper towels. If I didn't have a cat and cleaning up hairballs, it would probably take us years to go through paper towel rolls, because we just clean everything up with these.
Oh, God
And
bless the hairballs. Yeah.
right? We have a little stash, and we just been growing them over the years. So as towels wear out, we started with these from Costco. They're like car cleaning cloths you can
Yep.
get.
Yep. I love
And
those.
we're using. They're great, right? So we use them to clean up. I have a stack of them down. My kids are 11 and 8, so they can't quite reach all the way up to where we keep them. So we keep a little stash, call them the emergency towels. Oh, you spilled. We'll get an emergency towel and go wipe it up, right? So they clean up, and they're great because they work so much better than paper towels.
Right.
So don't feel like I made some sort of weird sustainability sacrifice. These are better.
Better than, yeah.
Right. It's cloth napkins. Same thing, right? So we use cloth napkins around our house. I don't remember how we got started on them. If I could bring one everywhere without being kind of obnoxious, I'd never use a paper napkin again in my life. These are so
Whatever-
much better.
Whatever happened to guys? Everybody. My people, my parents' age. I remember my uncle. He always had handkerchiefs on him. I mean, he would have 2 or 3 handkerchiefs in his pocket in any given. Yeah.
I got right here. Same
why don't
thing.
we do that?
I don't use tissues, right? And it's better, right? It's more comfortable. It works better. It lasts. I remember how many years ago my wife got me this set of handkerchiefs. I've had it for probably a decade.
Right.
But I've never had to replace it.
It's so good. We do goofy things because at the end of the day, what these things you're talking about, they end up saving you money, right? I mean,
100%.
yeah.
But then when we're on TV or wherever we are now watching stuff, you see advertisements for, oh, you spilled something, quick, grab your paper towel and clean it up.
Get your paper towel.
Right? So that's what I grew up doing. That's what we all think about. And now I feel like, wow, I haven't made a sustainability sacrifice. I've discovered something better, and this is better for us. Right. So I've like leveled up instead of this cheap, lousy, not that effective throwaway product.
There's a million little things like that we could be doing to help, and it's just educating ourselves
and finding ones that aren't a trade-off or a sacrifice.
Right.
These are easy. We keep a bin in the laundry room, and when we're done wiping something up, we toss it in the bin. And then once a week, when we're doing the laundry, we throw that in there. It comes out all clean, and it's easy, right? So you make it easy. It doesn't have to be a sacrifice, and these things help. They add up.
Kevin, I think we could go on talking for hours about this, and we'll probably have to do another show.
I could.
So. I love it. Any time I get to do a podcast where I don't have to say much, I'm a happy man. But I thank you very much for your time, and we'll do this again. How about that? Well, now that I know we can Skype a podcast, and we don't have to. We can do this once a week if you want.
Yeah, I mean, this was easy for me. I certainly enjoyed it. We'll see how it turns out in post-editing and whatnot. But jury's out. Next time I may be on the plane. We'll see.
Jake's got his work cut out for him, I think. We'll see. Kevin, thank you very much. Kevin Fritze, the sustainability manager here at Premier Packaging. Thank you very much, sir. Hey, I'm Billy Watkins. This has been The Whole Package by Premier Packaging. Until next time, bye, everybody.
Do you have comments, questions, or ideas about this topic? If so, we'd like to hear from you. Please visit primpack.com/podcast to let us know what you think. Thanks.